Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a first impression slash review of the new, it's a tinted moisturizer, but it's almost like a foundation from what I've seen online. It is called the Nars Velvet Matte Skin Tint. Now I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it like as of right now. I'm going to do like the whole shebang after. So right now we're going to go straight into the application. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dot it around my face. It is a cream, almost like a mousse texture. And I've taken this shade over here, which is a 1, because it has a little bit more yellow. And since the product is not that liquidy, I'm just going to use my beauty blender. So from what I see right now, you do have to work it a little bit more than a regular foundation into the skin with a beauty blender. Like you see, I still have a little bit of dots going on. But the shade is pretty close. Like when you look at my neck, it's pretty, it looks light on camera. I actually want to go in with my hand. I feel that it's just going to work the product a little bit better into the skin. But right now I'm just going to reapply a little bit more where I have a little bit of redness. So like on the cheekbones right over here. And I do see already in some areas, even though I don't have a dry skin, that it did enhance that. Like on my nose, it's a little bit patchy. When I look at myself in the mirror, yeah, it is definitely patchy. But you know, sometimes when you apply a foundation, it starts off like really dry, and after it kind of settles in. So we'll see about that throughout the day, because I'm going to try to wear this foundation the longest I can. Well, actually it blurs out my pores, but I see like around my nose, it's really dry. I'm not going to powder because it does have like a matte finish, and I usually I'm not really into the matte finishes. There is a little bit of glow though, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's not fully on matte. It does feel really light onto the skin, and even though like I see like dry patches, it feels like moisturizing. It's really weird. Like, you know, that fresh feel. Okay, so I'm going to let it sink in and do the rest of my face. I'm not going to powder at all. Other than that, I will check in at at a later time during the day. And as you can hear, this is my coffee that is ready, so I'll be back soon. So a little bit over 5 hours later, this is what it looks like. I was right, it did settle in pretty nicely pretty much everywhere on the face. I felt when I first started applying it, I felt like it was a little bit dry on the skin. Not dry, but like it was like clinging on to dry patches. Now don't get me wrong, around my nose it's not a pretty sight, and the funny thing is, like, my face is never really dry in that area, especially since I've exfoliated last night. But some foundations tend to do that. This one is one of them. So around the nose, it's not really pretty, but wherever initially I've applied the foundation and found out that it was a little bit dry in some areas, it did settle in quite nicely. Now I do have to mention that the foundation settled into my fine lines of the face. Once again, some foundations tend to do that on me, especially right over here. I have, you see that dent over here? It's pretty stuck in there, like it slid right in there. And my smile lines, other than that, it has a very nice coverage. Like after 5 hours, I see a little bit of sheen like around here. I don't know if you can see that with the lighting, especially I'm using new lighting, well, a new setting. I don't know if you can see it. And the top of my nose is a tiny bit shiny, but nothing that I would like. I would still wait a couple of hours to kind of powder, maybe like an hour, 2 hours, then I would powder. As for the shades, they have 12 shades. I do feel like I could go a shade higher, so a shade darker maybe, because it is a little, well, it's pretty close. Well, it's pretty close to my arm. If I put them back over here, But I think you could probably find your color in this. I'm going to link some of the ladies that have tested out this foundation. From what I've researched, I see that there's cool tones and warm tones. I wish it would have been written on the actual package, but overall, like, it did really well. Like I said, I would definitely powder in some areas, even though it is a matte finish. One thing that I can say is it definitely blurs out the pores. Now, I'm used to wearing a lot of highlight. Today I have no sort of highlight going on. I've used only matte shadows, so the thing, like the reflection or light or glisten that you see is all like from the foundation. I want to mention that before I've applied the foundation, I think I've mentioned it before, like, well, a couple of minutes ago, but I always moisturize the same whenever I wear foundation or not. I always use like a face oil and after a moisturizer, and I'm not talking like a little dot. I use a lot. So I think I'm going to try it again and again and again. But overall, I would recommend this. I would say that it's definitely more of a foundation. I know they say it's a tint, but I mean, look at this. Of course, if you wear it alone, no concealer, no nothing, of course it's gonna look a little bit like lighter. Like for myself, I did apply concealer underneath the eyes, a little bit in the middle of the forehead, and that's pretty much it. But overall, it would probably be like a light to medium coverage depending if you built it, because you can build it, but not a whole lot. As for the price, it is sort of expensive, probably like many of the Nars products out there. And I think it's just around the $50 mark. So it is expensive, but I do like the packaging. It's a squeeze tube, so whenever, you know, sometimes you have like a glass package, you can get the last drop. This you will be able to get the last drop. Now, as far as SPF, you see that it's missing a little something here. Actually, there's a sticker added on there for myself. So I believe these were formulated with an SPF 30 if you live in the States, but I think for Canada, they had to change the formula. There's a little sticker on there. I'm going to contact the PR firm that sent those to me. But when I remove the sticker, as you can see over here, it states that there is an SPF in there. So maybe they had to change the formula depending on you know, laws and things of that nature. I will check it out. Make sure you check out the info bar below, because I will do a recap of everything, because sometimes I miss something. So overall, I'm giving this foundation or tint, moisturizer, tint, whatever, a thumbs up. I'm going to try it again. I'm going, of course, like to make it my own, like powder in some areas or use less product, things of that nature. But hopefully you've enjoyed this, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye. Yes, I am totally browless. Yes, browless. This has to be one of the first or second video I've ever done without any brows. I was inspired by Gaga's performance on the 2016 Grammys, her beautiful performance for David Bowie.